My name is Luke Cooper. This is my presentation on narcissism effects on interpersonal relationships. Narcissism traits in communication. Control. Narcissists will tend to control the relationship and leave it feeling more one-sided. Like they will use manipulation techniques to try to make you feel like trapped with them. And we'll talk about more of the traits later. A research question. How does conversational narcissism shape interpersonal communication and relationships? Connection to this course. This is a communications course, and narcissism communication tends to affect communication in general. It's important to have healthy communication in a relationship, and when there's something preventing that, it is important that we learn more about that, and that's why it's important that we learn about conversational narcissism in this course. It's relevant. My interview biography. This is the person I interviewed. I interviewed my mom. Her father showed conversational narcissistic traits, and she's important because she experienced how conversational narcissism affected parent-child communication over time. One of the reasons why I wanted to interview her is because there's a lot of information on like romantic narcissistic relationships and platonic ones, how it affects like friends and like how it affects like how many friends they have, but there's not a whole lot of information on parent-child relationships, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this interview on my mom. Atlas of the Heart connection. Hubris is an inflated sense of one's own innate abilities that is tied more to the need for dominance than for actual accomplishments. Like we mentioned before, the narcissist tends to look for validation in relationships, and this can look like dominance over the relationship because they want to manipulate you all for themselves, and they try to put a lot of butter on their accomplishments to make them feel like higher up, and then this plays into the role of dominance and like manipulation. And Atlas of the Heart connects a lot to hubris. Narcissists tend to have a lot of hubris, and that's how it connects. My research findings. Not feeling safe. I asked my mom how she would feel if he used all the hot water for his long hot shower, and it affected her and she had to take a cold shower. And she said that she wouldn't even feel safe mentioning it to him, because she just said it would be ignored in this, or like resented, and this shows that this shows a lot of like the one-sided nature of narcissistic relationships and parent-child communication. Love bombing. Narcissist will tend to drop a whole lot of validation on you to get you addicted in a way and get you to keep on coming back. It's like a manipulation technique, and my mom referred to it as love bombing. Resentment. People tend to resent narcissists later in life. He didn't really have a whole lot of friends. He has one family member that he speaks to now, and that's because he just kind of like threw everybody to the curb, and so they felt like it wasn't like a real relationship, and so they just drifted apart, and that plays into the resentment. My interview insights. He talked more at me than with me. Narcissists, that it affects communication by he wants like more validation than to actually like hear about her day. Like if he was asking about her day, it's so they can compare their days, and he can like diminish her or like undermine the things that she did in her day. When I turned 18, moved out, and had my own life outside of his, I realized how broken our relationship was. So like when you escape like their like manipulation, or like their grasp, basically, it can become like obvious how damaged the relationship was. Role of mindfulness. Mindfulness can help somebody manage their relationship. When I say mindfulness, I'm talking about understanding that there's room for both of your voices, and and when you feel like there's not room for both of your voices, as in the other person is more like one-sided, then mindfulness will help you like spot that so you don't get hurt anymore later in life, and so you can start to like set boundaries instead of just constantly like being manipulated by them. My reflection. What I learned was narcissists will love bomb, like we talked about earlier. They'll like drop a whole bunch of validation to get you addicted on to them as like manipulation. Narcissists likely will never know there's something different about them, like there's something like wrong about them, because it goes against their very own identity basically, and like what they're like symptoms of narcissism. They'll likely never know. They'll never think like they're the problem. It applies to my life because it's important to know when somebody wants you or something from you. It'll help you spot narcissistic traits later in life, and it'll help me spot. It applies to my life because it is important to know when someone wants you or wants something from you. This will apply to my life because it'll help me have like more healthy relationships, and it'll help me like spot narcissistic traits later in life. In conclusion, not equal relationships will be damaged relationships. So when there's not room for both voices, healthy communication requires space for both voices. Here's my references. Goodbye.